There is no free speech. There is no freedom of expression. There is no First Amendment. There is no anything so long as you say something that's really not important. If you say something that is kind of milquetoast, under the radar, not important, not critical, you have all the freedom in the world. Don't go anywhere. Don't go in the right place. Don't be anywhere near January 6th. Don't say the right thing. Don't intimate the wrong thing. Don't say the wrong words. Don't say the wrong words in the wrong place. Don't suggest that you don't believe a particular medical narrative. Don't believe that you, or don't say rather that you are questioning an election. Don't say that. Don't suggest. Don't question maybe anything to do with the franchise. Don't mention certain remedies that you think might be good, medicine, medication, palliatives, therapeutics that you might think are beneficial in terms of certain pandemics and the like. Don't say that unless they're approved. Don't say certain things regarding certain people. Don't use certain words. And by the way, the reason why people guarantee free speech is that they say, well, we're not going to throw you in prison. And that's what they mean. This isn't some country where you're thrown into prison. Well, ask a lot of the January 6th people who basically were there for evincing speech, who didn't really do anything. They were there. They weren't advocating anything. They weren't suggesting or actually acting as co-conspirators in some kind of seditious conspiracy. They weren't doing anything of the sort. They were just there. Tell them about that. There is no First Amendment. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist so long as what you say isn't controversial. Let me stop for 1 second, dear friends. Let me thank you for listening to us. Thank you for watching this. Please subscribe to the channel. Please hit that little bell so you're notified of live streams and new videos. And also, I've told you before that there was a wonderful company called My Patriot Supply. It is emergency food. And my listeners, my followers, members of the conspiratorium, members of us, people who are fellow conspirators, members of the clerisy, those who understand that not everything you hear in the world is true. But if you are preparing for and getting ready for embracing yourself for what will be food shortages, guaranteed, either because of the winter months coming up, because of war, because of famine, because of pestilence, because of supply chain breakdowns, martial law, rioting, fuel contamination. Remember that one? They shut down service stations and filling stations and gas stations because the gas was contaminated and that. Because they're going to close it down because of climate change, whatever. They're going to close down stores. Oh, there's going to be food. You just won't be able to go to stores. And if you can't go to stores, you will not be able to survive because you don't have enough for a week. Let's face it. And bare subsistence is not what we're talking about. Preparewithlionel.com. Save $200 off a 3-month emergency food kit. 21 varieties, a 25-year shelf life. It's the most incredible. It's 120 pounds of food, secure and safe and reusable pouches. Preparewithlionel.com. Now, I love the idea of the First Amendment. The First Amendment basically provides for this kind of open-ended statement with loads of exceptions. And so long as what you say does not pose some imminent threat, something which is libelous, something which violates trade secrets, something which is injurious, so long as what you say does not in any way provide or act as, I don't know what the word is, but acts as some form of, I guess, as long as it doesn't do anything or say anything that is of any import, yeah, you can say whatever you want. You can say whatever you want. But where they really get you, and what's really important, is in social media platforms. See, this is the thing which is amazing to me. You see, the First Amendment provides that you are free from the government impinging upon your free speech. The government cannot. State, local, cannot, federal, cannot impinge upon you, cannot prosecute you, cannot charge you if you are saying something that they consider it to be violative of whatever it is that they consider to be violative. Okay, fine. Now, what that means is very interesting. And this is critical. What happens if there's a private organization, a private company that does that? What happens if there's, line of merch? What happens if it's a social media platform and you say something which they think is either disinformation, misinformation, injurious, hateful, alarming, whatever the particular, it's wrong, it's incorrect, it's whatever. And they cut you off, either by virtue of your ability to commercialize your speech or to speak at all. What people will say repeatedly is that, well, this is not the government. This is a private entity, a private concern, a private organization, and they're doing this, and that's the way that goes. All right. Is that true? What we have learned through Twitter files and elsewhere, there is the weaponization of speech. The weaponization of speech. And a direct and obvious connection between government and theoretically, seemingly civilian types of efforts and the like, when in fact they're not. When in fact they are not. The two are so connected, it's not even funny. So when you have the federal government telling a private organization to shut down your speech, there is a First Amendment violation. The most important thing that has to be done by some particular, either by statute, by court construction, is to rule and to deem and to reconsider and reconfigure these platforms as utilities, almost like a phone. Nobody would ever imagine, would ever allow, would ever think that your telephone conversation could be cut off because what you were saying was misinformation or contrary to some CDC edict or whatever. Nobody would ever think that because they say, no, this is a phone. You can't do that. That's what I suggest that social media platforms are, a utility of such incredible use, such importance, such intercommunication necessity that it must be granted a different status so that when you are prevented from speaking on that particular platform, you would therefore be able to allege, indeed, for the first time, enough state action and entanglement where you could claim a First Amendment action. And there's no way around it. There is no way around it. And there's all kinds of exceptions, Section 230 and others. But so there is no free speech. I just don't know where this idea came from. It's kind of an expression that we use. Nobody's going to prison unless you're part of the January 6th group. And this was the most, under the Brandenburg case, under so many Supreme Court cases and justifications, I submit to you, dear friend, that it is ridiculous to think that somehow, unless and until somebody said, I want you to go in and storm the Bastille and harm people now, I want you to harm people now, I want you to, absent that, you can say pretty much anything. Pretty much anything. You understand what I'm saying? You can say so much. And even if it sounds rambunctious and rude and crude and profane and homophobic, transphobic, xenophobic, phobophobic, no matter what, you absolutely should enjoy 100% unfettered ability to speak. And I can exercise it by not listening, by not attending, by turning around and going the other way, by ignoring you, whatever it is. Because one of the conditions, one of the social contracts of living in this country is that I assume, and I hereby consent, and I assume the risk through informed consent that I will invariably hear somebody say something which might prove to be nasty or problematic or rude. And that's just the way that goes. So thank you. Thank you for this. Remember, you don't have free speech. You think you do, but you don't. Now, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell so you're notified of new videos and new streams. And don't forget right now, preparewithlionel.com. Go right now and save $200 off a 3-month emergency food kit. There is not. This is so critical. This is not a trifle. This is not some little luxury item. This is emergency food. This is serious. All right, dear friends, have a great and a glorious day. Please, and I ask you right now to in the comment section to comment as you see fit.